Hey guys, it's Shauna and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited for today's video. I'm going to be making another purse. So I did do a purse tutorial very similar to this one a couple months ago with my dad, and together we made a leather purse. But I realized that not many people have the supplies to make a leather purse, and I wanted to make another one.
People think I'm obsessed with this, but I'm okay with it. I am obsessed with it.
So in today's video, I'm going to try to recreate those Prada nylon shoulder bags. So I'm going to be using a windbreaker I got from a thrift store, which is made out of nylon. So hopefully it turns out pretty similar to my inspo pictures. I am going to use a couple new techniques to try to make this bag look as professional as possible, but I've never tried that before, so fingers crossed it turns out well, and yeah, let's just hope for the best and let's get started. Okay, so I'm using this red nylon windbreaker. Like I said, I got it at a thrift store, and I already have a pattern for this since I did make that leather purse a while ago. But I will include the measurements here in this video, but it's just a body piece and you cut these out twice and then a side panel. And then of course you can add the straps as long as you wish. So this is what I'm going to be using to cut out my pieces of the windbreaker. Alright, so the first thing I did was cut out all the pieces. The pattern I am using does include seam allowance, but I still cut extra because I wanted to leave a little bit of wiggle room, which you'll see comes in handy later. If you're recreating this bag, then just remember that the pattern for the side panel only shows half of it, so when you go to cut it out, you want to flip it over while cutting so it doubles in size. Flip it correctly so that the thickest part of the side panel is in the middle. So this windbreaker had like a fleece type of lining on the inside, and I decided to keep that just so it's a little bit thicker. So I'm going to sew the nylon to the lining right now, and I'm going to do that on all the pieces, so the side piece and the two body pieces, just so they stay together and it's easier for me to attach them all together in the end. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I already pinned it together as you saw, and I'm just going to use a straight stitch and sew it together. Okay, so I sewed the pieces together so it's the outside and the lining attached, and the next step I'm going to do is something I have never done before, and it's creating piping. So it's the part of the bag, I'll insert a photo here, and it's around the edges, and it kind of sticks out a little bit and gives it just like a more professional look. I don't really know the purpose of it, but I'm going to try to do it. So I saw a TikTok video that explained how to do it. I will link it down below. That girl is so talented. But basically you use string and some extra fabric. So I'm gonna just follow her tutorial and hope that it works. I cut out 2 long strips of fabric that were a little bit longer than the length of the side panel piece. This is what you'll use to make the piping, so it has to be long enough to attach to the other pattern pieces. I also cut 4 super long pieces of string. To be honest, I cut them way too long, but I think if you cut it about 1.5 times longer than the piece of fabric you cut out for the piping, then that should be enough. I'm pretty sure any type of string or thread would work fine for this. I'm just using this white string I found in the back of my pantry. I guess it depends on your string's thickness if you want to do this next step, but here I just strung 2 pieces of the string together to make the piping a little bit thicker. I then placed the string in the middle of the fabric piece and folded it over on top of itself. I then pinned it together right next to the string. You want to sew along the pins right next to the string so that it's nice and tight in its little casing. I also sewed the ends of the string to the fabric so it wouldn't come undone and fall out of the little casing. This is all the pieces you should have now. 2 body pieces, 1 side panel, and 2 piping edges. I then attached the piping to the side panel. So I wanted to fold over the raw edge of the side panel and attach the piping all in one stitch so that it looked nice and clean and professional. So I started out just by pinning the raw edge down and then went back before I sewed and pinned the piping down also. You want to pin it so that only the part with a thread in it sticks out. I then sewed very slowly along the pins and attached it all together. I then repeated the same steps to attach the piping piece to the other side of the side panel piece. Wow, I just said side and panel so many times in that sentence. Okay, so I just finished adding both pipings to the side panel of the purse. I don't know if you can see there, but it's sticking out on both sides just a tiny bit, maybe about 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to do the same technique or a similar technique to the body of the bag. So I'm going to fold it down about 1/4 of an inch, just like that. And then I'm going to pin and attach it to the side panel and then sew it all together. And for this step, you want to make sure that they are lined up correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the center of the body piece and the side panel so that I can line them up correctly. And this part might be a little tricky because you're finally like assembling all the pieces together, but you know, I'm just gonna go slowly and make sure that everything is lined up correctly and looks as professional as possible. Okay, so here I'm literally doing exactly what I just said I would do. So I measured the body and side panel piece and marked its center. I used those markings to line them up so that I attached them all correctly. I then pinned the body piece to the side panel, wrong side to wrong side. This literally took so long for me to figure out because I feel like every sewing mom on YouTube and TikTok drills it into your brain that you always sew right side to right side, but trust me on this one, it's wrong side to wrong side. You want to pin the pieces together so that the piping sticks out just a little bit along the edge. To make a nice seam, I folded down the raw edge of the body piece and pinned it to the side panel all in one stitch. I started just by sewing the bottom edge of the body piece to the side panel, and then I tackled the curve and edges next. Since it does have a little bit of curve to it, you want to make sure you pin and attach it carefully so that there's no weird bumps and lumps, you know, all in your purse, because that ain't cute. To do this, I kind of folded the body piece on top of itself to match and fit the curve. Once you get over the curve part, then it's a lot easier, but I didn't really know how to explain this correctly, so hopefully you can see it a little bit better in the video, or just figure it out on your own. I'm sorry. I just got finished sewing the first body piece to the side panel, and it looks like half a purse right now. It was a little tricky because you had to fold it down and attach it all in one stitch. But since it's nylon, it's pretty easy to like maneuver around. I would just recommend going slowly and you'll be okay. The stitches like aren't perfect on here. I'll do a close-up later, but it definitely looks pretty good in my opinion, and yeah. I repeated the same exact steps to attach the second body piece to the rest of the purse and then sewed it all together. Now that I have it all sewn together, so I have the two body pieces connected to the side panel with the piping, I am going to go ahead and add a zipper. So I just cut the zipper to be the correct length, and I'm going to attach it to the top part of the purse. So I think how I'm going to do this is, again, fold down the raw edge, and when I fold it down, also attach one side of the zipper so that it's like a clean, smooth edge. And then after we add the zipper, you just add a strap and then we're done. So I really love it, and I like the red. It'll be like a pop of color with my outfits, so I'm very excited. To attach the zipper, I folded the raw edge of the purse down and pinned it in place. I found that it was easier for me to like visualize it all when I flipped the bag inside out because the white contrasted from the red or something like that. After I folded over the raw edge, I then unzipped the zipper and pinned one side down on that folded edge as well. And then of course sewed it all together and repeated those steps to attach the zipper to the other side of the purse.
Never gonna see it for real. You don't really feel now. I wouldn't even need a second meal up. Do what you do until the day did it kill you. You don't need to feel.
Now that the purse is basically all done, all that's left to do is attach a strap. To do this, I used a strap from the last purse I made as an outline to measure the length. I cut a piece of fabric out that long and about 4 inches wide. Since my body piece is about 1.5 inches wide at the top part, I wanted to give myself enough fabric to fold over the raw edges and fold it in half so it was double layered. I pinned both the raw edges of the strap down and then folded it in half and pinned.
One take, but you blown away. Only one life, what you think? Yeah. I get too high, I don't wanna feel low. I do what I do, so you do your own. Only stay up if I know. Yeah.
I sewed along the pins and also along the folded edge so that both sides of the strap had a seam running along the side of it.
Only stay up if I know. Yeah.
Now that I made the strap piece and it's double layered and nice seams on both sides, I'm going to attach it to the body piece and then we'll be done. So I'm going to do that by folding down the raw edge of the strap and then sewing it onto the side panel piece just like that. And then that way there's no exposed seams and it looks clean and professional. I folded the edge of the strap down and pinned it against the side panel on both sides and sewed it together. And just like that, 8 hours and 1 windbreaker later, you have yourself a nylon Prada bag dupe.
I don't know, dear, just how far we'll go, but I hope here is where I lay low. Trade those late nights for early sunrise, so I have time to look in your eyes. Come on over.
And that's all for this video. I absolutely love how this purse turned out. I did end up adding a little Nike symbol I had from an old shirt I used from a different project. I just cut it out into a rectangle, hemmed the edges, and then sewed it right on using a straight stitch. So it's pretty straightforward if you want to add like your own little decal or something to it. I think it adds a lot to the purse, but I love how it turns out and I cannot wait to start wearing it with all my outfits. So I guess now it's time to add it to my wall of purses. Look how cute she is. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next video. Bye.